How would you explain the third eye?
The activation of the third eye is so powerful because through that eye, you can see beyond what you can see physically. When my third eye was opened, I would get...
Really? You said that in 33 years, you've seen 3 entities.
Yeah. When I was in my house in London, in the middle of the night, I woke up to use the loo. I opened my bathroom door and she was sitting on the pot. It was female, blue-grey eyes, open hair.
Like Samara from The Ring?
Yes. The minute she saw me, that I saw her, she...
What would be the lowest level of low frequency?
People who commit suicide, that's the worst form of sin. This is not our first lifetime, Ranveer. Anyone who's living in this age, they've on an average must have lived 500 lifetimes. Today, the whole social media is buzzing with the law of manifestation. Everyone wants to manifest. But you will not get your manifestation till the time you've not tuned into your home frequency.
How do you get into your home frequency?
Every soul gets 5 exit points, an option to go. Now, that soul, depending on whether they're happy with what they've achieved, can choose it and release or continue and work. But if you skip one exit point and you continue choosing to stay on earth, the suffering will increase, your challenges will increase.
Some ex of mine had cheated on me long ago.
Out of karma. Because if you don't withdraw at the right time, Ranveer, then the universe has to intervene and break that attachment apart. And that's painful.
Oof. What's the strongest lower being that you've seen?
Tantriks tried to capture my soul and use that power to become more powerful.
Do you think there could be occultists who use villainous occult to grow in the material plane?
Absolutely.
This is where the whole deal with the devil...
The deal with the devil, and yeah.
The diya is going off.
You know, right? Illuminati does not like to be spoken about.
I don't know. You take over.
You really want me to take over?
All I can say about Dr. Tamanna is that she's one of the guests of the year. The last time I felt like this about someone who appeared on the podcast, that person's name was Rajarshi Nandi. So if you've enjoyed any of those conversations, you will enjoy this deep dive into occult from a global lens. While we've covered the subject of the occult from the Indian lens so much on this podcast, my next phase, 2025 and 6, are going to be about the global lens on the same topics that we've covered in the past. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to deep dive into, especially when you have one of the most powerful psychics in the world featured on the Ranveer Show. Why do I say that she's one of the most powerful psychics? You'll know this over the course of this 2-episode special. Very deep conversation. A conversation not really meant for the skeptics, but a conversation that will stay with you as long as you have an open mind and heart. All I can say for now is that I know when someone's sitting in front of me and they're bullshitting. Dr. Tamanna was not bullshitting. There were moments in this episode where all of us team members were looking at each other and we knew that it's not a basic human energy present in the room. Why am I saying that? You'll understand by the time you reach the end of episode 1, and then you're really going to look forward to episode 2. It's Dr. Tamanna who features on TRS. Dr. T, I'm very, very excited about today's conversation.
So am I.
I would love to begin directly with all the psychic realm stuff.
Yes.
And the people who've recommended your name for this show are highly reputed. They're dear friends. I am aware of your capabilities, but a hurdle we face as content creators when we're making any kind of content that's related to the occult is, hey, what's the proof? Or, how do I believe this person? Which is why the first question to you will be about your education.
Yes.
I would love to bring that in as a base for this conversation before we head into occult realms.
Sure.
So, what's the story of your education?
So I started very early in terms of my spiritual practice at the age of 9. That's when my third eye opened. Then I went on to doing Reiki. I became a Reiki master at 13. So I've gone through 2 balanced educations. I did a lot of healing modalities. But in terms of the scientific modalities, I've done my PhD in metaphysical and humanitarian science. I've done NLP, which is, of course, the realm of mind and brain, neuro-linguistic programming. So somewhere with experience, somewhere with so many learnings and such different exposures at a very young age, I kind of took the best of all worlds. I'm not an astrologer, but I understand and I study esoteric astrology. And in the end of it, it's all a science. In the end of it, it's all math. Plus and plus is plus, plus and minus is minus. And that's how the universe works.
Wow.
I work with the law of nature. What goes up comes down. What goes down goes up. I work in the realm of karma. Karma is directly connected to time. Your time controls karma. Because in the human world, time is everything. With nature, you look at the sun, you look at the waves in the sea, you look at the climatic conditions. It's never the same. Time is also nature. Time will also change. And I work in the dimension of time. So again, with metaphysical science and the psychic abilities, where I have the gift of tapping into karmic Akashic records, I merge both. Also, because I myself come from a very neutral religion background, it's not, my studies or my practice is not governed by religious practice, which is very conditional or which is very, I won't say vague, but very abstract. Do this puja, do that puja, it will change your karma, it will change your time. I don't come from that concept. I would like to call myself a New Age spiritualist because I'm a New Age person. I don't believe in preaching something I don't believe in or practice. And I believe anything in the spiritual realm has to be unconditional and practical. Because in the world that we live in, one needs to be practical.
Intuition wise,
Yes.
gut feeling wise,
Yes.
I'm extremely curious because I know that you're speaking the truth. The limitations of the English language, and I'd also say the limitations of the English language audience is such that you begin skeptical.
Yeah,
It just sounds like it needs much more digging.
sure.
How do you address the skeptics first, who looking at you and just kind of folding their arms and thinking, no, this woman just wants people's money? Like, how do you, I'm sorry,
No, that's okay.
you have to address the skeptics at the beginning of these conversations.
Absolutely. And I love skeptics because once they've done a session with me and they walk out, they turn to believers. I invite them to do a reading with me. Because, again, no matter what I say, the skeptics are still going to believe what they want to believe till the time they've not experienced it. And we are all skeptics. We are all non-believers of something. So one needs to experience to have any kind of faith in anything.
I agree. With most people who you meet in adulthood where they're open in the first place,
Yeah,
it's usually an outcome of experience.
true.
And vice versa. With someone who's a deep skeptic, they've just not experienced these things. But if you place them in an environment or in front of someone where they will experience something metaphysical, at least something starts switching.
True.
The issue is that in most of the Western world, you're not exposed to a lot of metaphysical experiences, in my eyes, as compared to the Eastern world.
True. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just the nature of the earth on
True.
some level.
And it's also the language, Ranveer, that they've been taught, right? It's more scientific and tech-based.
Which has its advantages.
Yes.
Where do we begin this? Because there's a lot of tangents we can go down.
Yes.
I'm trying to see this whole conversation from a Western lens. How would you biologically explain the third eye and or intuition and or psychic reality?
Okay. Let's understand what psychic means before we get into anything else. Let's simplify that version because people still don't know what a psychic means. Psyche in Greek means soul. And that's where the term psychologists, psychiatrists come from. Psychiatrist, or the study of psychiatry, is basically the study of your chemical imbalance in the body, your biological imbalance. And they will address any illness or any situation based on what imbalances are there in the mind and the body. A psychologist studies the emotional body. A psychic studies the soul body or the soul energy. And that's what I do. So it's a part of science. We are all multidimensional beings. We have an aura, which the scientists have already proven. So I don't need to prove that. Physical body, mental body. Now, mental and emotional body are two very different identities. Mental body is how you process information, and emotional body is how you respond to that information based on your past experiences, traumas, etc. And then you have the psyche. So we say we are multidimensional bodies. So I delve into the realm of anything to do with the soul. It could be past life, it could be this life, it could be the lessons they need to learn, why are they here, where have they coming from, what is their purpose. So any journey that the soul has covered, wants to cover, I pick that energy up. So that's one thing. Now talking about the third eye, the intuition. Intuition is nothing but the voice of the soul. That soul guiding you. And guiding us, why? Because before we are born, Ranveer, we all create a master plan, what we call a blueprint. Now, in the physical realm, we all have a blueprint. When we are creating a building, when you're creating the studio, there's a blueprint, right? Your architect, your interior will give you a blueprint that, Ranveer, this is how it's going to look. And the plan goes according to that. Now, what if your carpenter has not created something which is in the blueprint? It's chaos. You have to start from scratch. Similarly, when the soul prepares the energetic blueprint, it's in a very different language. It's in an energy language. Correct? Are you with me on this?
Yes.
Okay. But when we are born as humans, religion, background, society, parental upbringing, parental limitations, their traumas, education, pressure to make money, etc., etc., distracts us, our brain, from what the soul is here for. So, because we forget what we are here for, but the soul remembers, no? The soul is still a part of our being. We don't leave the soul in the spiritual world and our body here. So the soul is constantly nudging us, guiding us, ki, no, you're going away. This is not right. This is right. Correct? That gut feel, that intuition is the voice of the soul. Now, why third eye, scientifically and biologically? Third eye is the seat for all our senses. Eyes, ears. And basically your emotional self, your seat of awareness.
The seat for all our senses.
Yeah. The chakra of third eye is located amongst all our senses now. What are our senses? We see, we feel, we taste, and we hear. And then, of course, we touch. But touching does not always have to be from the hands. It can also be any kind of touch.
I'm assuming that all of these things, the skin on your face, your eyeballs, your ears, the nerves inside your mouth, they end in a nerve cluster somewhere near the cerebrum.
Eye. Yes, but which is located here.
Okay.
The pituitary gland and the pineal gland. That's why it's the seat, it's the center. And also your third eye connects between your eyes and ears. The nerves run through your eyes and nerves. Now, whenever we get a gut feeling, intuition, whenever psychics get visions, whenever astrologers get visions or tarot card readers are doing some prediction and they get visions in two forms. Either they see or they hear. Clairaudient is the gift of hearing information. Clairvoyance is the gift of seeing. So that's why the activation of the third eye is what we call so powerful, because it is through that eye that you can see beyond what you can see physically. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I'm giving you a very biological, because you said biological, scientific reason.
I've done enough podcasts with both Tantra experts as well as neuroscientists to know that the modern day human being is evolving into its next stage.
Yes.
in my eyes, and according to me generally, I feel like this is one of the aspects of the next stage.
True.
Higher faculties of the brain.
True.
If listeners have read the autobiography of a yogi, they talk about these things, the
True.
higher faculties of the brain.
But do you know why it's the higher faculties of the brain? What comes after the third eye is the crown chakra. Till the time you do not open your third eye and master all that comes with it, the crown chakra will not be fully open.
I feel like opening the third eye is not everyone's cup of tea, and it's not something everyone should do, according to me.
Yeah.
Do you agree? Do you
I
disagree?
absolutely agree. Opening it is very easy. But what comes with opening it and sustaining it can be very dark as well. And not everyone can sustain it.
Because you may be able to see things that you're not supposed to see.
That's one thing. That's one aspect. And I can only talk about my experiences. When my third eye was opened, when I was 9 and 16, these were the two poignant years or time of my life. At the age of 16, when I got initiated into my power by my guru, I went through a lot of tantric psychic attacks. And when I talk about tantrics, there are positive and negative. And they are aware of anything powerful coming into play. So anything with power, they want to capture it so that they can use it. Now we all have an authentic soul and a walk-in soul. Authentic soul is our soul, which is what we are born with. But that can also be captured, that can go missing, that does astral traveling. So I went through a lot of that when my third eye got opened, because my soul was so keen to study. I would be in and out. I would visit different planets, series. That's where I come from, star seeds. Of course, that's a different realm altogether. But it does exist, and I'm only talking about my experience. So there was a lot of dark entities, dark forces, low vibrational entities, because all of a sudden they know that you can see them. They know that you can hear them. They know that you can help them.
Help them.
Yeah. Because when your third eye is open and when you practice, I also do spirit releasement. So souls who are stuck in the astral realm or low vibrational souls that don't reach enlightenment, or they are stuck, or in Hindi, as they say, mukti nahi milti hai, they need a certain amount of powerful high vibrational energy to move into light. They need that little push, that energetic tug. And because they know that you can see them, they know that you can help them, I would get engulfed by all those experiences. And in the energy world, it all sounds very fun. But when you're physically going through it, it can be quite, especially, it was just, like I said, 16 years, not even 16, 15 and a half. It was quite scary.
We're going to unlock all those experiences and stories. We're going to get back to that.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the pineal gland
Yes.
and the pituitary
Yeah,
gland.
pituitary
These
gland.
are the two glands you named?
Yes.
What does biology say about them?
They exist. They does exist. You also have the occipital gland, which is located at the back, the tip of your spine, which stores all the memories and experiences of your soul.
A gland stores it.
Yeah.
From a soul
From
and
a soul
energy
perspective. But it's a part of the human brain. It's like a chip. Your hair, it's there biologically.
You're saying that it has biological function, but it's also got some kind of spiritual function.
Yeah.
It affects your astral body. It affects your spiritual body.
Yes.
Fair to say?
Absolutely.
Okay. What is the astral plane?
So the astral plane is the plane between the human body and the spiritual world. Human body has a very different vibrational frequency, and the spiritual body has a very different vibrational frequency.
Which means what? Like we're emitting a frequency constantly.
We are all emitting a frequency constantly. And going back to the question that you asked me, what is God? Everyone has different versions of God. But God is just a frequency of the most highest potential. And that's God light. So when you say that there are masters, we talk about ascended masters like Krishna, Buddha, we talk about Christ, We talk about Christ energy. We talk about Mother Mary. We talk about Mahavatar Baba and many, many more. These are just names we know, but there are far plenty. They don't become God. They vibrate at that frequency closest to God. God is untouchable. So tomorrow, no matter how much meditation I do and no matter how pure and clean I am, do I become God? No. I will become closest to the vibration of God. That's the inner orbit,
Okay.
which is the most purest form. Then comes the spiritual energy. Now, closest to God, you have angels, archangels. Then comes ascended masters. Then comes our spirit guides or souls who are in the spiritual world, not in human form.
Like our ancestors?
Our ancestors. We call them spirit guides.
They're not reborn into a new body yet?
They are not born into a... Of course, they have a choice. And I'll also come to a point where I'll tell you why they have a choice of whether they want to incarnate or they don't want to incarnate. In Hinduism, they say that we all are here for a purpose. And what is enlightenment? Enlightenment is reaching that highest potential so that we break free from the life of human body, because that's where the maximum suffering is for any soul. It's like a punishment. You've not done these things, you have to go back in human form and finish it. Our incomplete karmas. So, coming back, there are different hierarchies. And there's a hierarchy everywhere you go. And it's not created to differentiate. It's created to have a certain purpose. Ascended masters have a certain purpose. Angels have a certain purpose. Archangels have a certain purpose. Spirit guides or ancestors, when they're in the spiritual world, have a certain purpose. So it's not created because of judgment or any kind of difference or a hierarchy system. It's purely created based on you're vibrating at this frequency and this is your purpose.
Gotcha.
Now, even humans have a purpose. But because the soul chooses to incarnate in human form, we are bound by space and time. There is no space and time in the spiritual world. It is beyond space and time.
So our ancestors can go back in time?
There's no time for them. So someone could have passed away 100 years ago, 100 human years, but they won't know it's 100 years in the spiritual realm.
So what are they sensing?
They are just doing their purpose. They are learning their lessons. They are vibrating they are doing what we are doing here without a body. In the most awakened conscious state. Does that make sense? So for example, you are here to learn a lesson of forgiveness. There are 44 karmic lessons. When we go to school, we have subjects, correct? Now, say you're in 5th standard and you studied your entire syllabus of math and you've not scored well in a certain formula. Now, when you go to 6th standard, you know you will need that formula, correct? When you're at home, won't you work hard on that formula? So when you go into 6th, you don't have to restudy that or waste time studying that. Then you can study and focus on other things. Do you agree?
Yes.
This is the pure human life. And we all go through that in school, college, etc.
So we come back to work on our weaknesses.
We come back to work on our weaknesses. Because till the time we do not master these lessons on all dimensions of our being, we don't reach that state of enlightenment. That's why our ascended masters keep coming back, right? To learn different lessons. As Vishnu came into Rama, Rama came into Krishna. Each lifetime, the lesson, the message, the purpose, the journey was very different. They didn't, once you complete and master a lesson, you're not going to waste time coming back and going through the same life cycle.
What's your purpose?
My purpose is to bring in a message of New Age spirituality, which is practical and unconditional.
And global.
And global.
Right?
Yeah.
It's something I'm trying to imbibe myself, even as a content creator, that I'm very, very proud of Sanatan Dharma.
Yeah.
It's in every cell of my heart and my soul.
True.
But I have to talk to Nigerians as well who are not Sanatani.
Sure.
And Americans who are not Sanatani. And the only way you do that is when you start seeing human beings as one on some level.
True. Absolutely. A very commonly asked question for me personally is, what is the difference between religion and spirituality? And I believe in all religions. Um, but I believe, when my answer to that is, religion primarily is a discipline for human body so that it connects to the spirit, connects to the soul.
Very
Correct?
nice. A discipline for the human body.
A discipline for sharir.
Yeah.
Okay? Spirituality is connecting the spirit to the divine. Are you getting my point? It's as simple as that. It's A to B and B to C.
Yeah.
That's the circle of life. You know?
Explain that A to B, B to C thing.
Body to spirit is what religion does. Correct?
Wow. Yeah.
And spirit to the divine source, what we call the cosmic, the super consciousness, is what spirituality teaches.
Yeah. You know, in saying that, I also feel that if in your heart, in your consciousness, you're rooted in your religion,
Yeah.
that base of your journey becomes really strong.
Of course. Again, why? Because religion inculcates faith and spirituality is incomplete without faith. You know, faith is everything. Because
What is faith?
faith is a grounding factor within yourself and your source. That for me is faith. And the reason why I use the word grounding, this word grounded, or this person is so grounded, or we need to be grounded, I don't think people have fully understood the meaning, energetic meaning of that. We use it as a virtue, but it's something that we need to inculcate as a practice. For the simple reason, in the world that we're living in, there are so many distractor implants. I'll come to that. So today, why was it so easy for masters to achieve enlightenment back then?
No WhatsApp, no Instagram.
These are distractor implants that have been created as a test for our souls to see how well we know our truth. And coming back to the energetic significance of what we were talking about, grounding. We say a person is grounded when they're living in their home energy. What we call in Hindi, therav, stability. When people are not grounded, they can sway. Every word, every emotion, every change of nature can make them sway in their energies. Do you agree? So when a person is grounded, no matter what external situations are, what people say, what their judgments are, their opinions, you're still rooted in your home frequency. So in a layman's language, if I have to explain, if you order a parcel home, okay, but you're not at home, you're sitting in your neighbor's house waiting for the parcel, are you going to get it? You need to be in your home frequency to receive. Now, in order to receive what's in our karma, in order to receive our manifestation, today the whole social media is buzzing with the law of manifestation. Everyone wants to manifest. But you will not get your manifestation till the time you've not tuned into your home frequency. So, if you keep swaying, getting carried away by other people's energies, you will never receive what is meant to come to you. To receive what is meant to come to you, you have to be in your home frequency.
How do you get into your home frequency?
Meditation is one thing, and grounding. That's where the importance of grounding comes in.
And grounding comes from?
So here we'll talk about two kinds of grounding. Grounding mentally comes from knowing your truth, knowing who you are, and having faith in that.
Okay. For example, for me, I have very deep faith in the divine.
Yes.
I have a sense of providence that the divine is always going to give me a helping hand in what I do.
True.
Is that my grounding?
That's absolutely your grounding. That's physical human grounding, mind grounding. But there's also something which is energy grounding, which is very needed in today's day and age. Because now people have become very energy conscious, vibe conscious. And because there are no boundaries, everyone's meeting everyone. In a day, we interact with at least 50 to 100 energies And when I'm talking about energies, I'm not only talking about people we meet. Our phone calls, our emails, our social media, you're constantly giving and receiving energy. It's a vibration. By the end of the day, you've collected so much of energy from people, you need to release it. And that's where the meditative grounding comes, where you visualize connecting the base of your spine, your root chakra, to the center of Mother Earth, and visualizing roots going deeper into the Mother Earth and feeling that tug and push.
I've done this meditation for years
Yes.
now, especially in phases of overthinking or sadness.
Yes. It works. It fixes you.
Yeah. The visualization is you keep your spine straight,
Yes.
visualize light entering from your head,
Yeah.
going down into the earth through under you,
Yes.
and then spreading out in the earth like roots.
Yes.
And I used to visualize playing with rocks, and you feel like that cooling energy.
Yeah.
I've also heard that for girls it's slightly different.
So the way I do it and I practice and teach is you first visualize either your feet. Now, since I'm sitting, I will visualize roots from my feet, or if you're sitting on the floor, from your root chakra. And first you release all the gray energy, your emotions, your negativity, other people's emotions, your fears, insecurities to the center of earth.
Wow.
Because first you need to cleanse. And then you pull in what you're doing, energy from the divine source, passing through your body, rejuvenating, revitalizing you, and then connecting. And I believe the purpose of every soul, every human, because we say in the Father universe, which is the masculine, divine, and Mother Earth, they're father and mother. And of course, in Christianity, we say that the Father, Mother, and the Holy Spirit. Our purpose is to be so holy, so pure, that at any point, the divine can flow in energy, and we are so clear that the energy can pass through the mother. So that's why, people don't understand the meaning of the Father, Mother, and the Holy Spirit. That's our purpose, to be that so pure, so holy that the Father can connect to the mother through our purity.
I just kind of want to pause this tangent of the conversation at this point and tell you that, like, I understand that you're giving these gold nuggets out in public. I hope the listeners understand the kind of value they're gaining from this conversation. I've not had this kind of a conversation from a global spirituality perspective on the show until this point. So I'm actually very glad we're doing this. But what I'm trying to tell you is it'll reach who it has to.
I believe that whoever's vibrating at this frequency of this conversation will absorb it. If they don't absorb it right now, after 2 years, they will come back saying, I'd switched it off, but maybe I think I need to go revisit it.
Okay. There's way too many things I want to talk to you about, which is the kind of confusion I'm facing as a podcaster. Do I ask you about your life experiences? Do I ask you about your mind? Do I ask you about myself? Do I ask you about how you're feeling today, why we're meeting? Do I ask you about the whole metaphysics side of things? That was your education. Did your education add any value to all these other things?
Yes, because again, it's made me speak a very global language, and it's helped me personally bridge between the religion, the spirituality, and the science. So in today's day and age, if I'm calling myself a new age spiritualist, I have clients who are 16 years old also, who do not believe in religion and rituals. They want something practical and quick. And then I have clients who are 50, 60, 70 also, who are very rooted in their religious practice and their rituals, but also want more answers that they are not finding from those practices.
Fair. Why do people come up to you to be clients in the first place? Is it because they're usually facing some kind of difficulty in their life and they've tried other means and then kind of given up? Or is it because they're just drawn to these kind of spiritual doorways?
So one thing about human mind, apart from being curious, is they need a sense of security. And when they're going through problems, they are okay going through problems, provided they have a certain knowing of when it is going to end.
Oh, wow. Okay.
People are not scared of problems, Ranveer. People are scared of the unknown. But when they come to me and I tell them that, okay, you are in this period for the next 6 months, for the next 1 year, at least they leave the room knowing that, you know what, for the next 1 year, I should have my expectations right and not rock the boat.
That's what is said about traditional astrology as well.
Yeah.
I was talking to a dear friend of mine, Robin Uttappa.
Mm-hmm.
We have some of these conversations, on a spiritual, from a spiritual lens. He said that astrology is a very simple user guideline. It has the potential to make your life easier if you know some aspect of your near/far future.
Yes.
If you know it's a difficult phase, it's probably going to be a difficult phase. You just have to be mentally prepped as much as you can and spiritually prepped.
True. That's where my role as a karma coach comes, and that's what I do in my personal sessions. Is I not only specialize in predictions, which are very microscopic, but I also make my clients aware of why they've attracted what they've attracted. Is it karmic? Is it self-created? And how to learn certain lessons to build your mental and emotional immunity so that you can handle situations in a better way. Like I started off by saying that karma is a part of nature. You cannot change it. But when it's too hot, when it's raining, you carry an umbrella, you wear a raincoat, you wear a wind cheater to protect yourself from the adverse effects of it. Similarly, karmic lessons are those virtues, Ranveer, that we need to inculcate mentally, emotionally, so that we can handle people and situations in a better way.
Okay. At the time that we're recording this, it's I think mid-November, early November. I'm dealing with this cough for like almost a month.
Yeah.
And I know it's trying to teach me something.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's trying to tell me to slow down.
So when you walked in before we started, and I asked you twice, are you okay? Your energies, it seems like someone's draining you out.
Someone.
And there's a lot of irritation internally, which you've kind of not addressed, but you've brushed under the carpet. And it's like you want to say something to somebody, but you're either being too diplomatic or you just don't want to deal with it. And you're not a confrontational person, So it's somewhere that, which is coming up.
As a cough. Like it's something buried.
Yeah. Also, since you asked, no one has the power to take away what is karmically meant for you. They can slow you down, but they will never take. No one has that power, And this is the most commonly asked question that I get when my clients come. Oh, I'm suffering from a bad relationship. Has someone done black magic? I'm suffering from a low health or low career. And I tell people do not have that kind of power. Why would they? We are not that important, Nazar lagti hai. Nazar is very, very real. But Nazar is very different from black magic. But what you are facing is something more personal where, like I said, it's more like a irritation along with a confrontational energy where you have a lot to say, but you're not saying it because you want to be at peace. And this is not from now. I will even tell you, this situation has happened for you between 1st to 16th of October, where the emotional disturbance happened. And your cough has been going on since precisely 19th of October. People often give meditation a lot of priority, Ranveer. And it's very important. Meditation increases your vibrational frequency. But it is also important that after you finish meditating, you have to do a little bit of grounding energy. Because scientifically, and we've all experienced it, energy always flows from a higher level to a lower level, high vibration to a lower vibration.
You're saying that same grounding meditation that we just spoke about.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a repeated life lesson in that case.
Yes. That always end your meditation with that grounding energy.
5 minutes?
Yeah.
That's it. Daily 5 minutes.
Even 2 minutes is fine. The more you practice it, the shorter time it will take.
Wow.
Like now I can, of course, 25, 30 years of practice, so I can ground with my eyes open while I'm talking to you.
some ex of mine had cheated on me long ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a while ago now. It was like 6 years, 7 years.
I was going to say October 16 to November 17. But you came to know around May to July 17. And you were warned. Intuitively, you dreamt of it, you were warned.
Yeah, and it was probably multiple cheating situations.
Yeah.
And I found out later. And I've spoken about it on the show and cried about it and like done all sorts of shit. But yeah, I mean, I was just very into that person. And I thought that with age, the obvious thing is to let it go. But like my closest of my close friends know, it angers me. And I've used that anger to grow my career a lot. Like, so I know I need to address it, but I don't know what I should do. I thought I'd forgiven that person.
Yeah.
I think I have also.
Here, it's not about, this is not the lesson you need to learn of letting go and forgiveness towards that person. Somewhere you need to forgive yourself. You're more angry with yourself than her for giving in that much. And also somewhere there's a lot of anger in terms of how could I be such a fool? You are a vulnerable person, which of course everybody knows, and it's a great skill to have. But one also, why did you attract that? Number one. Number two is sometimes love has a bigger purpose, just to stay. You know, sometimes that girl maybe had a purpose for you to push you into your career. You know, otherwise, had it not been for that breakup, you would have been very comfortable. You would have not started questioning a lot of things.
I started the podcast because of a breakup.
There you go. There you go. And also, self-forgiveness is the most important lesson. People say that, oh, but how you said, you know, Tamanna, I've forgiven, I've let gone. Great. But sometimes that lesson is not what is needed for that situation.
Oh, so brutal.
Abhi, if you're making rice, in rice, what is the spice you use? You will only use salt. Are you going to put in oregano or garam masala or red chilies? Will it taste like rice? Sometimes a situation needs only that one specific lesson. And till the time you don't learn that one specific lesson, it will keep coming back. Till the time you don't have that aha moment. But I will also tell you something, Ranveer, that not everyone's going to be in full receiving of you. It's important to love keeping in certain boundaries that only give to the other person as much as they can receive. You know, Punjabi mein kuch bolo.
Are you Punjabi?
I'm a Sardani.
Oh, wow. Great.
My nani used to say कि कुत्ते को खीर कभी हजम नहीं होती. And if I'm to translate it, that if you feed a dog the most expensive sweet dish, he will get loose motions. You could be this Mr. Perfect, whole and complete, 10 on 10. But if you give that to someone who cannot handle it, it will go to waste. They will reject it. That does not mean there's a problem with you. That means that there's a problem with their vessel. There's only that much they can receive.
But how do I get rid of this cough now?
It will go.
Okay.
It will go.
Okay. Appreciate it. Is this rude that I'm doing this? I'm asking my own...
Not at all.
I'm also asking from a perspective
because this is what everyone goes through. There's not a single person who's not had their hearts broken.
Yeah, and I've noticed that when I talk about my own journey on the show, a lot of people connect with it.
True.
A lot of girls connect with it. Not the guys so much, for whatever reason. Which is why we switched into a feminine set at this point.
It's a balance.
Yeah. I also think I'm too masculine a guy on many fronts. I have to work on that femininity.
No, I think from an audience perspective, I think you're very much in touch with your feminine side.
But it's a conscious effort.
The biggest feminine trait is the ability to embrace your vulnerability and your sensitivity, which you do it so beautifully. And you're not afraid to do that.
Perhaps.
You may not wear your heart on your sleeve, but you wear your vulnerability on your sleeve pretty well. And that's what I think makes the audience connect.
Yeah. Again, in my eyes, the past is fiction. So I try not to consciously think about it. But even when it comes to conversations like this, the reason I brought up my own question was that I genuinely believe when you're like lighting a lamp like this and you're having these kind of like conversations which are vibrating at this level, I am able to see a question and I know it's my duty to ask what I'm seeing. So on some level, I feel guilty that I've freeloaded on you.
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay. Of course, I want to ask you a little bit about Akashic records, but not everyone knows what Akashic records are. I have an idea about it. I do believe it's a very complex concept to understand.
True.
I would love for you to begin with a 101 on Akashic records.
Akashic records is basically a sum totality of all of the soul's experiences. So it's a book of records where from all lifetimes, this is not our first lifetime, Ranveer. And anyone who's living in this age, they've on an average must have lived at least 50 to 500 lifetimes. Even the most new souls, what we call old souls, new souls, even the newest souls would have lived at least 50 to 70 lifetimes, if not more. So, what their journey was, who their partners were, who their parents were, who their children were, what they did, what are the virtues they developed, what are virtues or their weaknesses that they had, over every lifetime gets stored in an energetic record. Okay? Now, based on that, before taking birth in this form, in this human form, we evaluate where we are coming from and where we are going. Correct? And we start working backwards. That I've come from here, but I need to reach this vibrational frequency or closest to God or ascension. What are the lessons I need to learn? Who are the people that I need to complete with on my past life so that I can finish my chords and jump to a higher frequency? What are the new lessons I need to learn and what are the new energies I need to meet, interact with that can contribute, add purpose, I can contribute in their life and grow. So that totality, that life plan, I'm coming from here and I need to go here, goes and gets stored in an Akashic record. So to simplify it, an Akashic record is the plan the soul creates that in this lifetime, I have to meet these people, I have to learn my lessons, I have to go through my lows, I have to go through my highs. And what I've left incomplete in this lifetime, that lifetime, I carry it forward. And in layman's language, an Akashic record can be broken into 3 parts. A karmic contract. Karmic contracts are the symbiotic relationships we get into. It's our parents, our partners, our colleagues, employees, teachers, friends, etc. Where we are adding something in their life, they are adding something in our life. And mostly it's like, it's eternal, it's never ending. You may disconnect for a certain period of time, but then again after 15, 20 years, you cross paths. Then you have karmic lessons.
After 15, 20 years, you cross paths.
You may. Like whenever you need something, you will attract that energy. So suppose if my karma in your life is to give you water. Whenever you're thirsty, you will encounter me. Now, you may not need water all the time. You may sometimes need coffee. You may sometimes need tea. Whenever you need business support, you may go to somebody else. Whenever you are dealing with a heartbreak, you may go to that one friend. Whenever you want comfort, you will need your mother. Whenever you want a particular kind of advice, you will think of one friend. And we all have that one person who brings in different things. And that's what our human life is. We feel that connect, that soul sister, brother, family, cousins, grandparents. So that's all contracts. All our relationships are contracts. Then you have karmic lessons. Karmic lessons are short-lived. That person is there in this lifetime to teach you a lesson. Whether you learn the lesson, whether you don't learn the lesson, that person is there, and then the person will go. Now, if you've learned the lesson, great. If you've not learned the lesson, somebody else will come and try to teach you the same lesson, but in a more harsher way. That person will be short-lived. You learn the lesson, great. Now, you don't learn the lesson, then again, some third person will come and give you a slap on your face saying, wake up. That's why people ask about repeated patterns. Why do I always go through this? Why am I always attracting an abusive partner or a friend who takes my money and go, or XYZ, or a toxic boss or whatever? That's a repeated pattern. That's karmic lesson, which is painful and short-lived. If you've learned the lesson, that person will never come back in your life.
That kind of person.
That kind of person will not come back in your life, or that energy will not come back. And the third is karmic incompletions. What you've left incomplete in certain lifetimes, you may choose to finish that in this lifetime. Usually people say, and again, a very common asked question or a statement, I'm going through a lot of sufferings. I must have done something in my past life. And I'm like, no, because we have fresh contracts. Do you go to office and do everything you've done in your past life? No. You pick up new contracts, you pick up new lessons, you pick up new projects. And yeah, one or two things that have been left incomplete from yesterday, you carry it forward. Because if a soul kept doing exactly what they did in their past life, they would never grow. There would not be any evolution.
What are the early signs to avoid these toxic patterns? Like the red flags within these patterns?
Is energy, intuition.
I think definitely what you're saying, but you've also got to self-assess a lot.
True.
And a great way of doing that is just write down your life.
True.
Your adult life after college, what happened, who were the kind of people you met. If you've had relationships, why did they happen?
True.
What did you feel early on? What did you feel towards the end? Is there a common link?
True.
This kind of self-assessment is very important. I have figured that my type when it comes to people I've dated are people who are a little eccentric.
You're a protector. You like to protect vulnerable girls.
Yeah.
So you'll always attract someone weaker or someone who's gone through trauma.
Yeah, gone through trauma.
Okay. But is that what you need? You need someone who's secure. You need someone who's strong. You need someone who's powerful. Only then you will be able to grow while being in a relationship. You need someone who has a solid life. She may not be perfect. She may have her own set of... But at least she doesn't need you to fix them.
Yeah.
You know? And also what happens, Ranveer, like I said, that soul energy always flows from a higher level to a lower level. When I attracted my partner, I'm a Shiv Bhakt. My only chant was, if there's someone for me, he should be one chosen by you. I want someone who's a reflection of you. Otherwise, I don't want. So what I'm saying is, I'm attracting someone of a high vibration. Only then I will be able to grow in life, right? If I'm attracting someone of a lower vibration, they will always pull me down. And growth here, I do not mean wealth, fame. I'm talking about what my purpose is. You know, what we are all here for.
You know, the closer one gets to their purpose, the more peace one feels.
True.
Right?
True.
Your purpose is to kind of help people bend their own realities a little bit through some changes and to self-introspect.
To self-introspect, and I think my purpose is also to make people independent and give them the tools rather than constantly depending on external factors.
Metaphysical weapons.
Yeah.
What do you think my purpose is?
So your career path is what you do, podcasting. Your purpose is education in one word. Educating people. And it could be any form of education. If you were not a podcaster, you could have been a professor. You could have been a principal. You could be setting up schools. And I also see that you'll do that in the future, because somewhere I'm picking that up. That it's there. Time is not right. That's your purpose. And also, I think your purpose here is to balance receiving. You're too much of a giver. Your lesson is to receive. You give a lot. Yes, you receive also a lot, but that's unknowingly. You need to set boundaries on your giving. And give to people as much as they can handle in your personal space.
But giving feels so natural, right?
Giving feels very natural because we have so much to give.
It's the curse of being Punjabi.
I agree. But also, I think over a period of time, I've personally learned that only give to people how much they can handle, because that's the best form of energy conservation. Today, we work so hard to vibrate at a higher level. Meditate, learning about ourselves, learning our lessons. Giving is not the issue. Giving it to the right person who can handle it. Because we work so hard in accumulating this vibrational frequency, you don't want to throw it away, right? You have to honor your own energy. So self-honoring is also one of the strongest lessons.
When it comes to accessing Akashic records, are you able to see something?
All the time.
Could you describe what you see visually, if that's fine?
So Akashic record, apart from what I told you, holds 8 pillars. 8 pillars if you're not married. Career, finance, health and family are your primary pillars. Your secondary pillars are love, social, spiritual, emotional. If you're married, then you have 7 pillars. Love goes and then your family life comes. So that's what an Akashic download looks like.
And this started happening to you after age 9?
Yeah. But at that point, I didn't know I didn't have the vocabulary to express it, right? Even when I was initiated into my powers at 16, Ranveer, my master never told me you'll be practicing it professionally. I went down the whole academic route. I wanted to be an aeronautical engineer. I studied science. Wo nahi hua. Then I became a fashion designer. Writing was always a passion. This just came my way and just pulled me into it. And even when I started, I was 23. I always knew I was a psychic, but I never introduced people that I'm a psychic. At that point, India was not ready for it. People would look at me saying, oh, do you do tantra? Do you do black magic? Tu bhuto se baat karte ho, you talk to spirits, do they enter your body? India has become more open right now. I'm talking about 2023, 17 years ago. If a 23-year-old girl said I was a psychic, it was looked down upon. So I marketed or I introduced myself as an angel therapist because it was still a milder version that I communicate with angels, I get you connected to angels, I get you messages. It's only in the last 8-10 years is where I have come out of the closet and called myself a psychic, because that's who I am.
This is going to be a 4 or 5 hour conversation.
That's okay.
Tell us about yourself. Let's go back to age 9.
I was a very normal girl. My mom's very spiritual, and also I know that the gift I carry is from my maternal side. My nani is very learned, very intuitive. Mom's extremely intuitive. She's also a clairvoyant, but she doesn't practice it. She's a housewife. But I got introduced to the book Laws of the Spirit World when I was just 9 years. And
do you think women in general are more clairvoyant?
Yes, because it's a more feminine energy. And even if men are, they don't talk about it. Because it thinks it will make them weak. It's just a perception. That's like we were discussing the perception about spirituality, where people are still not open discussing their spiritual side, because other people might take it as a side of weakness or oh, are you going through problems? Is that why you're meditating? Or why are you going to a healer? You know? So when my mom was doing Reiki, so there are two parallel situations where my mother was learning Reiki. And after school, her Reiki master's house was right opposite my school. So after school, I would go and sit and read my books and talk to him. Now, he being a master, recognized my curiosity, my gift, and I would question. And that's when he took permission from my mother, said, I would like to open her third eye. She seems like a prodigy. She's carrying some gift, but I want to be sure. So he opened my third eye, saw my past life, and he told my mom that she's carrying gifts. So if you are okay, let's push her. So I did my Reiki 1 when I was 9, 10, 2, 3. Then by the time I was 13 and a half, I became a Reiki master. Like the master symbol was given to me.
Let me give some context to the listeners. I did my Reiki 1 when I was 24 and it was a life-changing experience.
Yeah.
It's a very heavy-duty thing for any human being to put themselves through that process in a conscientious manner.
Yeah.
If you do it from your heart, it's very emotionally, I don't want to use the word taxing, but it shakes you up on the inside.
Yeah.
You did it at age 9.
9, and by 13 and a half, the master symbol was given to me. I was initiated as a master. And at that point, I was the youngest Reiki master in India.
Yeah. Again, only people who've either received a Reiki session or who know how to give Reiki or have gone through a Reiki course understand its power.
True.
Otherwise, you'll always dismiss these things.
True.
Because it's just difficult for the human mind to fathom that there can be an energy exchange between two bodies in that manner.
Yes. And then simultaneously, the same master taught me pendulum dowsing. And we would talk a lot of things.
What is pendulum browsing?
Pendulum dowsing is basically you use a metal pendulum to answer questions like yes, no. And you channel. So you invoke the masters, you invoke the universe, and there's movement. So if the answer is yes, the pendulum would go vertical. If the answer is no. So it's more like you connecting with the universe and saying that give me messages through pendulum. Because again, when you get initiated into anything, you will not hear messages like the way I hear them right now. It takes time to tune into that frequency, to catch the energy and give it words, right? Today, what you're seeing of me, Ranveer, is 31, 32 years of practice and 17 years of professional practice. That's why I'm so quick with my readings.
Do you not get drained?
I used to, but also coming back because I'm a healer. Now, not all healers are psychics and not all psychics are healers. So on the way again, I think my master kind of envisioned me doing all of this. That's why he prepared me at a very young age. And then he waited. He told me, Tamanna, now once you finish your 10th, I will initiate you. So the day my 10th exams got over, after 4 days, I was put into a very rigorous psychic enlightenment process, initiation, what we call.
Pardon me for being direct, okay? But I feel someone who's psychic as well as someone who's a healer.
Mm-hmm.
You're a combination of these two things. This is a very potent combination to do wrong in the world also.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I feel you're born in a sick family, which creates that level of goodness and righteousness.
True.
Just my theory.
Absolutely.
You have a very sick way of going about things. Which is very giving, very like, do no harm, take no shit.
True.
These are powers.
Yeah.
This is the next stage of human evolution in my eyes. It's just that there isn't enough neuroscience-based research yet.
True.
I think if someone actually puts you in a lab and runs tests on you, a lot of shit, pardon my language, is going to come through.
True. Though I did kind of do very early, I'm talking about 15 years ago, you have these aura scanners. I did an experiment where they show the color of the aura. Now, I know I can increase my frequency, I can decrease my frequency, I can put it wherever I want to. So we did an experiment where I lowered my frequency and we did an energy scan. And then I told them, let's break. I did a 10 minutes of a meditation uplifted my frequency, and then we did a scan and we compared. And it was a world of a difference.
They
You
need
know.
to do some science experiments with you.
I would love it. If anyone's watching this and wants to get it done, I would love it. I mean, that's something I want to do. But again, unfortunately, in India, and also Ranveer, this is the first time we are talking about it. I've not really exposed myself to podcasters and interviews. I've been covered a lot, but that's only what I do, which is psychic, and my workshops I do, or what I do professionally. No one's really asked me questions about my personal journey, my personal gifts, and what I do, or what I can do. I can do 50 things, but professionally, I'm only doing those 2 or 3 things because that's what people need out of me.
Okay. Before the podcast, I always chant a mantra, and you were immediately able to tell that it's a Saraswati mantra.
Yeah, because I saw her energy.
When I'm doing it,
Yeah.
it's almost like I feel an intuition before the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And it's often a reflection of how I think Saraswati looks at the person.
Okay.
And it gave me a big thumbs up kind of
Okay.
about you.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't say that out loud. And you were like, hey, were you doing a Saraswati mantra?
Yeah.
I was like, that's a little creepy, but yes.
I connect with Ascended Masters, and I also do the Saraswati mantra. I do the Gayatri mantra. And that's the first thing I say when I open my eyes. And I say that I recite it to my daughter also. As soon as I open my eyes and she's awake, I whisper it. And I also invoke, because again, what we do, my word is everything. It can make lives, it can break lives, it can make a person, it can break a person. So I always invoke that frequency of Saraswati Ma, that let me choose impeccable words.
Are you paying a price for this?
No. For the gift?
Yeah.
I have. And I'll tell you why. On a soul level, my soul is a healer. I'm here to heal. I'm here to fix. I'm here to unconditional love. Very early on in life, I attracted broken souls, wounded souls, souls who need fixing in my personal space. कि heal करना है, कोई भी आ जाओ, मैं heal करूँगी, I'll fix them, And then, of course, when I went through my heartbreaks and life challenges, I kept asking myself, why am I attracting this? Why am I attracting this?
Could you see your heartbreak coming?
Yeah.
And you still stayed?
I still stayed.
Just out of love?
Out of karma. Sometimes it's not, वो karma khatam nahi hota hai na. So, sometimes I know that this person is only for this reason. And when my karma with someone is ending, even with friends, I come to know. I come to know. And before anything, because what happens is the universe gives you messages. So one should respect that and withdraw. Because if you don't withdraw at the right time, Ranveer, then it leads to chaos. Then the universe has to intervene and break that attachment apart. And that's painful.
Oof.
You've been through it. So sometimes when you get that message ki ho gaya, you've done it. But coming back, that if I've paid a price, so after a certain point, I put my foot down and I made an affirmation to the universe that now all the souls that I need to heal, that I need to fix, only come through me in my professional space. In my personal space, I am only going to attract whole and complete souls. And by saying whole and complete, I'm not saying they are perfect. They have their own set of imperfections, but I don't have to fix them. I don't have to pay a price for them being broken. So yes, till a certain degree, I paid a price, but then I became aware and then I set a boundary.
Okay. I definitely want to get into the 9-year-old's head.
Yes. Yeah.
When you went through that third eye opening, can you take us through that day or that week or that month or that year?
I can, again, like I said, there are 2 sides to it. One was the third eye opening, and then I started reading Laws of the Spirit World.
That was going to be my following question.
Yeah. So when I remember opening my third eye, And what I saw was, as corny or conventional it may sound, it was more of a life of a Buddha, where I was married with a family, but I was not Buddha. I was a normal sage, and I left everything and I took to sannyas.
You saw your past.
I saw one of my past lives.
But did it hurt?
It did. It did.
As a 9-year-old?
As a 9-year-old. Because what happens is when your third eye opens, it connects you to anything and everything beyond what your eyes can see. And that's a whole different world. You have the world of darkness, you have the world of lightness. You have dark energies, light energies. There's spirits, ghosts, entities, demonic energies. And then there are angels, ascended masters, divine,
But what's it like? Like, are you able to see more colors?
No colors. I've never seen colors. I've only seen images, people.
Describe what your eyes were registering on that day.
Just people.
More people.
Just people.
Mm.
Like, at one point, I could see 2,000 people, spirits, energies in that wake.
On the ground?
Yeah.
Or flying around?
No, on the ground. They don't fly. Spirits don't fly. Entities don't fly. They all, jaise how they say, na, sab idhar hai. It's truly sab idhar hai. It's all here.
That master opened your third eye by some process. It hurt.
It hurt.
And when you opened your eyes again, you were able to see more people.
I was able to see more people. I was able to see a lot more with eyes shut also.
Like what?
I went through a lot of psychic attacks, tantric attacks. If I'm sleeping, my soul, someone trying to capture my soul, someone trying to strangle me.
As a 9-year-old?
As a 9-year-old, 12-year-old.
How do you protect yourself then?
So that's when I went to my master and I started explaining to him. And that's when he told me a lot of healing techniques, energy scanners, how inside your rooms, put energy scanners at the door, how to protect the room, how to invoke divine light, how to cut cords, how to check if your authentic spirit is inside the body. Because your authentic spirit is more powerful, right? Because the minute your spirit leaves the body, you can have a walk-in. You can have an entity attack. You can have a psychic attack.
So you need to ensure that the physical safety of your body is taken care of before you try any kind of astral.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, walk-ins are very different from entities and possession. Walk-ins can be positive as well, where they'll just come replace your body till the time your soul doesn't come back. And when it comes back, they leave. Entities continue staying in your body even after the souls come back.
So your soul and that entity's soul is inside your body together.
Yeah. And this is a very common phenomenon.
Because something latches itself on.
It's like a leech.
Gotcha.
And they just drain you out.
What about that positive version of things when like a positive being stays in your body?
You are then downloading powerful information. Like, I've seen Mahadev Shiva. I've felt his hug. At one point, I used to channel with Kuan Yin, Buddha. And it's all there on my blog. I stopped blogging long time ago, but I'm talking about 13 years ago. Blogspot hota tha, remember? There used to be. So on that I had, and I used to talk about Mahavatar Baba, Kuan Yin, whoever would come. There would be a message for the universe. What the cosmic is going through, what the collective consciousness is going through, and I would download that information.
Could it be a lower higher being? As in a higher being, which is not a god, not a fully evolved master, but like something like Gandharv.
Yeah.
It could be that.
It could be that also. A very important role was my Dada when he passed away. After that was when my entire personal to professional spiritual transformation happened. He pushed me into it. Because at that point, I had never taken this up. I'm talking about in 2007, 8. If at the age of 21, I came out of the closet saying I'm a psychic. It was not a profession. And even now, people are shocked, oh, is this your full-time profession? When people are looking for my appointments, and my assistant's like, okay, there's a waiting. They actually ask, but why is she so busy? It doesn't occur to them that this is a full-time profession, But back in the day, 17, 18 years ago, no one had it was unheard of, right? There were only astrologers,
Again, this is a personal
Yeah.
anecdote. When my granddad had passed away last year, there's a period of mourning you have to take up,
Yeah.
13 days. I was advised by a friend not to meditate during those 13 days or not to meditate for too long. I remember the night that he passed, I sat to meditate, couldn't go deep for whatever reason. And then suddenly, within like 5 minutes of me thinking, hey, I'm not being able to go deep, I went very deep. And I almost feel like I stayed in some place for a very long amount of time. And all I remember about that was that there was an ocean, like a little mountain in the middle of the ocean, like a plateau, not a mountain. And I clearly remember Shiva sitting on top of that mountain, blessing me and saying, no, don't meditate.
Yeah. Go.
And I got pushed out, but I felt like I'd spent 2 or 3 hours in that place when in human time, I'd probably just spent 15 minutes. At the end of that meditation, I almost felt like my granddad's soul was showering me with like blessings, like a very large amount of blessings, almost like a spiritual will.
Yeah.
And that got me to read up a lot about Pitrus,
Yeah.
ancestors.
I call them spirit guides.
There's a personal part of me that wants to ask you about him, if this was just my imagination.
But I told you, of course, I picked up, I said maternal grandfather, but it could be paternal grandfather also, because I saw grandfather energy. So it could be him as well.
Why do they want to stay with their grandkid? And do they stay with all the grandkids, or is it one particular one? Are they able to stay with multiple people?
So let's understand what spirit guides are, shall we?
Sure.
So when a family member passes away, they can choose to, from the spiritual realm, be around family members to guide and protect them.
Multiple members together.
Multiple members. They can be with your father. They're omnipresent, right? They can be with their other children. They can be with you today. They can be with somebody else tomorrow. Now, there are multiple reasons why they can choose. Now, if one of the family members is suffering, grieving, taking wrong decisions, they will come to guide them.
In their dreams?
In their dreams or through people.
How through people?
Like, for example, you are getting dreams about a spirit guide, or a spirit guide is coming and visiting you in your dreams. But you're so tired, consumed, unwell, or materialistically consumed by ye karna hai, wo karna, I have to do this, I have to do that. You will not, even though they're trying to communicate, you will not catch on to their frequency. It's like there's a faint music playing in the background, but if the TV is on, vacuum is on, 10 other gadgets are on, you will not hear that. Now, in order to be heard, they will catch people in your life who will pick up that frequency and communicate that message.
Like
to
your
you.
wife might tell you, hey, I just saw your granddad in that dream.
Yeah, or a friend, or it could even be a stranger who might just give you that message, and then you're like, oh, why is this repeated? So these spirit guides, if they can't reach out to you, they will reach out to people who will pick up on that frequency and give you that warning. That's one aspect, that you're taking decisions. Now, the other aspect is they're just there around you, guiding and protecting you. Now, also, sometimes your karma is not over, where they have a certain attachment, or maybe they wanted to do something more for you, so then they will come through. Or kabhi their, what we call ichha, or their desires unfulfilled, they will come to that family member who has the ability to fulfill that for them. And then sometimes they may not even be around you. Like when my grandmother passed away, I was very attached. Her life was in me, which everyone would say that like, if I may say, she was like my soulmate. And she passed away in my arms, and she had Ganga Jal, and she passed away in my arms. So that connection was unreal. And after she passed away, every time I tried to connect with her, I would see her. I would see her smiling, and I'm like, are you there? And she's like, our karma is over, tera mera khatam. Which means I'm done. We finished that karma. So now I don't have anything to give. I don't have anything to receive. Because the minute she starts giving, that soul is adding new energetic cycles, right? So if I owe you 10 rupees and I've paid you back in some way or the other, if I even give you 1 rupee extra, you'll have to pay me back that. So that's how it works.
Can I ask you a whack question again?
Yeah.
Because my grandmom passed away when I was 7 years old. And I actually have very happy memories with her. Okay, I was playing this game with my girlfriend once where I asked her, what's your favorite food?
Yeah.
And she said something. And I asked her why. And she's like, because we didn't have money to buy this. And I said, that's why it's your favorite. My favorite food is butter paneer. And my only reason for liking it is because my grandmom used to make it for me and celebrate it when she was packing it in my tiffin for school. So all my life after that, butter paneer has been like, and that's the only association I have with her. Why would she still choose to be with me? Is it because of BeerBiceps and being able to affect the world positively?
Possible. And also, sometimes you just need, now your grandmother from this lifetime could have been your mother, father, sibling, partner, child in another lifetime, right? I already know that my grandfather's incarnated in the family. So the dynamics will change, right?
That's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
They have the choice of choosing incarnation.
Yes, but it's guided by a lot of masters, angels, ascended masters.
They'll suggest.
They will suggest. And why people talk about enlightenment, moksha, is because the more powerful you are, or more high vibrating you are, better choices and more choices you get. So, if I may explain, when we go to school, Ranveer, in 9th standard, 10th standard, before board exams, we get that study leave where we tell the teacher we are not coming to school, we'll study from home. Now, you only get that study leave when you're 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%, right? If someone is flunked, has scored 35, 40%, and they tell the teacher, give us study leave, you think they'll get a study leave? The teacher will be like, no, you have to come to school. Because the teacher knows that this child will not study at home. It needs to be done under guidance and supervision. Such is the case with reincarnations. If a soul is vibrating at a higher level, higher frequency, they can choose to incarnate, they can choose to not incarnate. That choice is theirs. But souls of low vibrating frequencies do not have a choice. They are sent back to learn and learn and learn.
A low vibrating frequency on a very extreme level would be a murderer or something, right?
Murderer, rapist, someone who's I won't say an atheist, but someone who shuns life. People who commit that's the worst form of sin. Drug abuse, any kind of, even not learning your lessons. Today, if I may say, you may be a pandit, but if you're just fleecing people of money and then going and drinking and I'm not saying having non-veg is a low vibrational thing, but doing wrong things, that will be a low vibrational person.
If we move one step forward in the spectrum, I'm not talking about absolute high frequency.
Yeah.
What would be the second lowest level of low frequency? Being unethical on the inside.
Being unethical on the inside, and also just being stuck in the human vibration. Money, 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 sex, 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 greed. There's no heart consciousness. Then you're only living from the root chakra, which is all about sex, money, sustaining. That's the lowest.
Understood.
Your chakras resonate with your frequencies. Na?
We'll talk about this
in
in the next episode because there's too many topics I want to unlock right now. Before we move forward, another roadblock I need to.
Yes.
If I ask you to channelize my grandmom again,
Yes.
I don't remember having an adult conversation because she passed away when I was 7. She was
Yeah.
very ill between the time I was like 5 and 7.
But she prayed a lot for you. She prayed a lot for your birth. And she was a Durga Bhakt.
Yeah.
So maybe your connection with Durga is also because of her. Because they pass on that energy, right? And sometimes, like I said, spirit guides are just hanging around us, right? Today, now I have people who come to me saying, we've never seen our grandparents. But I'm like, it's not your attachment with them. It is their attachment with you.
As in?
As in how attached they feel to you. So today, I'll give you an example. Say, tomorrow when you have kids, even though you pass away before their children are born, because you yearn them, you'll still be around them.
It's like when you go back home, your mom's always trying to feed you something and you're like, no, mom, I don't want to get fat. Nahi kha le.
Yeah.
What's that?
Especially Punjabi house.
Yeah.
Kamzor ho gaya hai. So,
Do you think she's okay with what I've done in life?
very.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think she asked for someone who takes up fame as a thing, or?
She always knew you were a confident child, but somewhere it took you a while to come out of the closet. You were a very shy kid. You know? And now, I would say last 9 to 11 years is when you've become more confident in a social environment.
But then again, I think of why she would still want to be there. It's just attachment to the family.
It's, see, also they bring in a lot of energies that you need. They bring in a lot of protection. Okay? Now, because today you're doing so much of meditation, you meet so many people, the more we grow into the power, the more protection we need. And no matter how powerful you are here in body, you still need that energetic protection. Because remember, energy always flows from a higher to a lower. Higher you grow, there are more chances of you being drained out or pulled down.
Also, I think post their passing away, it's their chance to be parents again.
Yeah.
Right? And that must be a trip. You're a parent, I'm not.
Yeah.
There's something very primal about being a parent.
Oh, absolutely. That's like a different joy altogether. Because that's our way to give also, right? Because till the time you don't become parents, you're only just receiving that love from family, from parents, grandparents. Where do we give that? So.
Okay. Coming back to this topic. What was the overarching topic? You're talking about ancestors. Pitru.
Yeah.
So you dealt with negative entities early on.
Very early on. I've seen cosmic wars. Of course, not with me, but happening, the angelic realm and I've literally seen the Mahabharata of the angels and demons multiple times.
How did they go about it?
Of course, the light always wins, but it's the light or the white light or the positive angelic realm never destroys the negative. It only reduces its power.
Why?
Because, again, with the angelic realm and the law of God, it's all non-judgmental. Even the demons, the lower vibrational frequencies are all a part of that God frequency. So they are given another chance to grow.
Do any of them grow?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. So,
into what?
Like, again, it could be through the journey of life. It could be repentance. It could be through choosing wisely, if I may say. But, like, for example, we are talking about lifetimes, past life. Say, if a person has caused mass destruction, mass murder, okay, and low vibrational, but they regret, they realize, that same person will come back, not as a sage or as a righteous, holy man may come back as a normal human being, may come back in form of a teacher, may come back in form of someone who's doing seva, may come back in form of a doctor saving that many lives. So they're balancing their negative karmas, right? So one thing about karma that not many people talk is karma cannot be changed. You can only balance karma or release karma. You can balance karma by going through what you've done. And then you can release karma by experiencing that similar kind of emotion, but in a different situation. So to simplify it, if I cheat you of 100 rupees, okay, in this lifetime, in the next lifetime, some way or the other, I will find a way to give you back that same 100 rupees. So we are balancing that karma, correct? Now, if I have to release that same karma, I may not be the one coming and giving you 100 rupees. But that energy exchange will happen in some way through the other, that you get that 100 rupees and I lose that 100 rupees. Got it? It may not be the same people, but it could be different people, different situations. Balancing is always with the same person. Releasing is always with the cosmic. Ki main kahin na kahin se I will lose 100 rupees, and from wherever you'll find 100 rupees fallen on the road. So I've released it. So people say karma can be changed. Karma cannot be changed.
What's the deal with people who make mega money in life? Is that predestined?
Predestined, yes. But it's also their choice of free will.
And hard work and all that.
Hard work also, and choices. Now today if I give 3 people 10 lakhs each, one will invest it wisely, okay? One will go for a lavish holiday, and one will go get 3 expensive bags. And that's what destiny is. People confuse destiny as predestined. Destiny is a combination of karma and the choices of free will you make. That becomes your destiny.
We'll unlock this as well. Let's go back to the cosmic wars.
Yeah.
Where did you see that happening?
While lying down right above my eyes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Little far away though.
A little far away though. Not in my room, but yeah, in the energy of the sky. Just above the sky, there's that realm.
On Earth?
On Earth.
Is it where aeroplanes fly?
No. Higher than that. Higher than that.
More questions.
Yes.
If you don't mind me.
Yes.
As a child, what was the scariest thing that your faculties could see?
I could not watch horror movies.
Why?
I could see spirits. I've seen ghosts with naked eyes. That doesn't scare me as much as horror movies do. Because when I see spirits, entities, ghosts, they are not that scary. You know?
The horror movies give them power?
No, not at all. Because, again, I'm a creative, I'm a very animated person. That horror movies, the faces that it attaches, it's so scary that even if I see a normal entity, in my head, it will look more magnified and animated.
So you're saying in the natural state, none of them look too scary?
No, I've seen ghost twice or thrice, like scary ghost. But no, and twice or thrice is also after having encountered spirits and entities for 33 years now, 32 years. Tab jaake I've seen 2 or 3 ghosts that look like ghosts.
Also, you don't go seeking it out.
I don't go seeking it out, they come. But it's true, they come for a reason.
Can you see that thing behind Kavach?
Oh yeah.
Is it not a wise thing to keep such things in a room?
No, it attracts. It's an invitation.
Okay. Couch, you can take
It's
it
an
home.
it's an invocation. It's like you're opening a door, right?
Portal.
Portal. Yeah.
But it's
Let's
so
talk about
attractive.
portal.
Why am I attracted to it?
Again, balance. I've noticed you like a balance of, like I said, playfulness and spirituality and the spiritual and
You said that in 33 years, you saw 3 entities which
that look like spirit, look like ghost, like
what
scary.
one would imagine a horror movie ghost
Yeah.
looks like.
Yeah.
Comfortable running us through that? Or you don't want to talk about it?
No, I'm very happy to talk about it. Now, a lot of entities, spirits, because they know that I can help them, I can release them, they come to me and I would release.
Even if you're just sitting in your house.
Sitting in my house, going to a mall. I could be sitting with you and I could be doing entity clearing. So it's a split second for me.
Because their reality is full of pain
Pain, yeah.
and difficulty. And they
Yeah.
want a release from
They
that.
want to release.
Okay.
But what is wonderful is no matter how low vibrational they are still looking for light. They still want to go into light. You know what I mean? No one's come, like, they come, we want light. So like I said, we just give that extra push, that extra energy.
Okay. I know the answer to this, but I'd still love to ask you the basic question before you expand on the previous question. Everyone's got a particular amount of time that's allocated to them for a human life.
Yeah.
And if you pass away because of a freak accident or something that wasn't supposed to happen, then that remaining time you spend as an entity.
Okay.
That's my understanding based on what people have said on the show. Please feel free to disagree.
Yes and no. Now, also a little bit about the timing on earth, if I may touch upon that. Every soul gets 5 exit points. Periods of death. Interesting, yeah. 5 exit points. And those exit points can come at any time. One can have an exit point in their childhood, teenage.
Like an option to
go. We do not control it. Like someone's first exit point can be at the age of 60, 70 also. Or someone's first exit point can also be at the age of 2, 3. Now, that soul, depending on whether they're happy with what they've achieved, can choose it and release. Or continue and work. But the difference is when you skip one exit point and continue, there's a suffering increasing. Your sufferings will increase. Your challenges will increase. If you skip one exit point and you continue choosing to stay on earth, you pick up more karmas. You pick up more projects. Okay? Now the second exit point comes. And you can choose to go or stay. But if you decide to stay, then there'll be more sufferings. It's like you telling your boss, saying that today I don't want to go at 4, I'll be in office till 7. He's going to give you more homework. You say that, no, today I'm not leaving at 7. There's too much traffic, I'll sit till 10 o'clock. He will give you even more homework. That's how it is. That's why you'll see a lot of cases where the body becomes vegetable, where the doctors have given up. Okay, which means their 5th exit point is come and gone, but that soul is so attached that they don't want to release. And then there are some young deaths who just pass away split second. What happened, no one knows. At the age of 8, 10, 12, 15, they've gone.
Through illness?
Through illness, through accident. Okay.
The accident is also a self-chosen thing.
Yeah, the accident is a self-chosen.
Really?
Yeah.
But won't that be a very painful death?
No. Some accidents can be on the spot. Some accidents suffer. Some accidents... Now, today, I'll also tell you. Now, suppose if the intensity of the accident is so bad, where I'm given a choice that if I continue on earth, I'll be like a vegetable. I will want to release, na? If I have multiple fractures, my spine is broken, I go into paralysis, I go into coma, then the soul would rather choose to leave than to continue in physical form because suffering is increasing. And suffering can be it can be physical suffering, mental suffering, financial suffering, relationship suffering. So suffering can come in any form. So it does not necessarily have to be physical. So that is very, if I may say, that's very relative. Not all accidental souls move into the astral realm. And if a soul is a high vibrational frequency and the accident is just caused because of somebody else's exit point, then they don't go into the astral realm, they move into the spiritual realm. Souls who commit are sure shot in the astral realm. Like I said, is the worst form of sin for a soul. So even when I deal with clients, if someone has had a natural death, and when I say natural, it could be an accident, it could be ill health, I will pick up or communicate with that spirit guide. But if I've met a lot of clients where their family members or a person has passed away because of suicide, I will not touch that case. Because they've not attained that spiritual light. Then they are stuck for 30, 40, 50 years, that gap that they had to be on earth.
Which is probably more to them
painful.
So for these spirits that are stuck on the earth, is time also more stretched out?
No, it's the same.
They feel
Same.
it. But some kind of suffering is on.
The suffering is on.
Thirst?
They are neither here nor there, na? No one can hear them, see them, acknowledge them, and they can't do anything about it. It's like you're stuck.
I'm seeing something, I'm asking you. Do you know Kobe Bryant is?
No.
Bryant.
I've heard, but...
Kobe Bryant is a legendary basketball player.
Okay, yeah, now I know.
Passed away in a helicopter crash.
Yeah.
Broke my heart. So much of my own mentality comes from his mind.
Yeah.
What's said about him is that he used to keep saying that, hey, I want an early death. Hey, I want an early death.
Yeah.
But lots of ex-NBA players revealed this post his passing, that he used to say this.
Yeah.
Then one day we just wake up, I think it was 2020, before the lockdown.
Yeah.
We just read on our feeds that Kobe Bryant passes away in a helicopter crash.
Yeah. So he knew that it's going to happen. So he took the first exit point that was available to him. That's a pure exit point. Souls of high frequency know that something is going to happen to them.
His soul's at peace?
Yeah.
So did he wake up that morning knowing that, oh?
No. It's in that split second that choice is given. Like I've had near that experience, I've gone to the other side and come back. And my suffering increased after that. But I've had, how they say now, you see yourself going through a passage. And all I remember was I was alone in LA. I'd met with a car accident. At that point, not a scratch on my body. After 2 days, I collapsed because of whiplash. And I was alone. Someone had taken me to the hospital. And all I remember before I closed my eyes was telling the nurse, I don't want to die.
Whiplash is when your neck gets hurt, right?
Knees, your entire spine. So I had it like, I just collapsed after 2 days. So at that point, not a scratch. But then I had that nervous jolt. And I remember going on the other side on a wheelchair and coming back. And I was alone. My parents were here. They couldn't fly in because long flight. Long story short, I went through my suffering. And I knew my sufferings will increase.
How about long story long?
So I had gone to LA for a course. And that's where it happened when I was on the way to the course. So after I came back, I couldn't travel. Because for 1 month, I needed bed rest. So I decided I'll go to Vegas, I'll do San Diego, travel, go to New York. I'd enrolled for a skydiving program. Couldn't do any of that. And I had to stay with my aunt, bed rest. They asked me, do you want to sue? I said, none of that. After 2 months, when I got a go-ahead from the doctors, said, okay, now she's safe to travel, then I could come,
But do you remember being on the other side?
Yeah.
What did you
Yeah.
see?
It was just a blue passage with white. And I've had conversations with God, you know. But that particular moment, I don't remember having a conversation with God. I could just see myself going. And the next thing I saw myself was I'm awake and I'm conscious. But two things I remember very strongly was I remember telling the doctor I don't want to die. I said it 3 times. And being on the wheelchair, going through like a blue passage. And then the next thing is I've opened my eyes.
Were you feeling uncomfortable in that passage?
No.
It's
No.
peaceful.
Peaceful. It's very peaceful. It's not that dramatic. So
Why did you have to come back?
I think I have a lot more to do.
In terms of healing the world?
In terms of healing the world, yes. And also I think experiencing a lot of things. As a human, as a woman, I wanted to experience, you know.
You probably weren't a parent back then.
I wasn't a parent back then. And I think for me, my biggest purpose as a human, as a woman, was to experience motherhood.
Let's go back to those 3 scary ghosts.
Yeah.
Because we took a long tangent and this was great.
Yeah.
So you said that in 33 years, you've seen 3 entities
Yeah.
which were visually kind of scary.
Yeah. 2 of them are the same person, same spirit.
Same spirit.
Same ghost. And in my house. One house, when I was in my house in London, in the middle of the night, I woke up to use the loo. And the thing with me is I have night vision.
What does that mean?
I can see through darkness. I do not need to switch on the light. So,
What do you see in darkness?
no, I make my way. If you give me a new, like even if I stay in a hotel room where I've not stayed before, a house where I've not been before, in the night, if I want to walk from the room to the loo, I will never switch on the light. I don't need night light. I don't need any of that. And it's funny, my daughter has a similar gift. But, so I saw her, I opened my bathroom door and she was sitting on the pot. Not like on the pot, but the pot was closed, but she was right there.
The spirit.
The spirit, the ghost.
And what was it?
It was female, blue-gray eyes, and open hair.
Like Samara from The Ring?
So, yes, something similar, but a more Indianized version.
Why did that entity try to scare you? Was it trying to scare you?
No, it was just a passerby. So, like I said, everything is here. There is no different astral plane between earth and sky or earth and space. It's all here.
Why your house?
It was a passing. Just passing. She didn't need releasement. She didn't need anything. Because the minute she saw me, that I saw her, she vanished. So she was not bothering. She was not there to possess me. She was not there to attack me. You know, spirits are there all the time.
So you're saying that when we're sleeping at night sometimes and you feel like going to the bathroom, there could be a spirit in your bathroom, but you just can't see it.
Yeah. Could be, yeah.
Have fun peeing, you guys.
Yeah.
But that's how the spirit world works.
Yeah.
And she didn't want anything to do
No,
with you.
She didn't want anything to do with me. She was not there to harm me in any way.
Demonic at all?
She looked demonic. It was, but not to harm me. They will not harm me or they will not harm anybody till the time the other person is doing anything wrong.
What does that mean, doing anything wrong?
Like suppose if there's an entity and it's not doing anything to you and you pray and you request them that please leave, they will leave. But if you try to get, if I may say, Tantriks who will try to capture them and do something with them, then they might fight back.
And the Tantriks are present across all cultures. Yes. Not just
Absolutely.
Not just
in the
Sanatani
Western
culture.
world, we say it's witchcraft.
Mm.
You know?
Animism.
Yes, absolutely.
Then they'll be bothered and try bothering you.
Yeah. It's like when you go for a safari, the first rule is you don't bother the nature, they will not bother you.
So this thing you saw was a lower being.
Yeah, it was a lower being. But very, very lower being compared to the others that I've seen.
Let's talk about those. What's the strongest lower being that you've seen?
I've seen quite a few actually. I've seen, like I said, we were discussing Tantriks try to capture my soul. And it's a different realm. I'm not talking about your educated Tantriks.
What? You're talking about like a tantric which is not in human form.
I'm talking about Tantriks which are not in human form. That try to capture souls and use their power to become more powerful.
Were they humans once upon a time?
Yes, absolutely.
And they got attached to their tantra.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the bad usage of tantra, while tantra can be used for a lot of good things.
Absolutely. So any energy always has duality, polarity, what we call, plus and minus.
In any practice.
In practice.
Practice draws energy. That
Yeah.
energy can be used for positives or negatives.
And it's also the intent. Today, the same mantra that you're using to elevate your spiritual growth, you can use the same mantra to destroy somebody else. It's all about the intent, right? Now, Kali, since we are talking about it, she's super powerful when you start your spiritual journey. But then if you want to destroy somebody's life, she can also do that. But then there's a certain ritual or a process.
And a price one pays.
Price one pays.
That's also...
You always have to pay a price to affect somebody else.
Let's talk about this tantric. One or multiple?
Multiple.
Okay. So even this is present around us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
These were people in India. Actually, forget India. We're talking about like worldwide geography.
Worldwide.
So let's just say witchcraft practitioners or occult practitioners that got attached to their occult, stayed around in this realm, figured out a way to continue the practice in the astral realm.
True. And then they also continue to empower the tantrics who are in the physical realm. How do tantrics get their power? And I'm talking about here primarily, please, I'm only addressing tantrics who use the energy for a negative purpose. You know? So like I be discussing, there's positive also, negative also. So tantrics who perform negative rituals will use those masters, right?
And they are masters.
They are masters.
But on the dark side.
Yeah. So what is a master? A master is someone who's gifted and in human body develops skill sets to complement that gift. That's what a master is. Now that they've mastered that gift.
Why were they born in a human body?
So we are all born to keep rising. It's like a game of snakes and ladder. We are all born from that God light, and God sends us down to learn certain lessons, but also return back to light.
And you have free will, so you can pick up other skills.
So you can even drop. Like I've seen people who are gifted and through their skill set in human form, take their gift to the next level.
Like?
One of your favorites, Diljit. He's gifted. He's a gifted singer. But you can tell a vast difference between pre-COVID, post-COVID.
Yeah.
And he himself says that he's been through so much of spiritual transformation, so much of yoga, so much of grounding, his Naam Japna part, all of that, that his voice today is very different from what it was earlier. Because he was gifted, but with a new skill set, which is more human, which is a high vibrational frequency, your gift becomes even more powerful.
And it affects the details of your life.
Absolutely.
So, for example, maybe he's in charge of designing the art for his concerts.
Yeah.
And even if he's not, somehow his energy has attracted the right people for him to bring his vision to life.
Absolutely.
So you become a magnet for everything that will raise your own power in the world.
True. And when you are at that high frequency, people will be attracted to you. People will be attracted to you. Because always, again, I come back to the same thing. Energy always flows from high to low. The lower will always want a piece of that high vibrational frequency.
And the way to increase energy is meditate.
Yeah.
Be open to these things.
Be open to these things. Ground your energies. kindness, gratitude. Even if you don't meditate, even if you don't do any practice sadhana, but you are grateful. Gratitude is the lesson through which you can jump your frequencies to leaps and bounds. And gratitude here, I also want to add that it does not mean thanking. People often get that wrong. Gratitude, I'm very grateful. I thank the God. I thank the God. Gratitude in its true sense, Ranveer, means that making and acknowledging the most out of what the universe has given to you on earth and utilizing that to fulfill your manifestations. That recognition is gratitude.
We'll break this down in a bit.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this dark section just to like take
So
it off.
coming back, the light can go to dark also, and the dark can go to light also. And of course, not to name, there are so many people who started their career on the right note. So many actors, celebrities, sports people, gone to the dark side and either never bounced back or then have bounced back with a bang. And we know plenty. So again, it's all the choices you make.
Okay. What about this tantric?
Yeah.
You spoke about these higher dimensional tantrics as beings that you had trouble dealing with.
Yeah.
Couple of questions.
Yeah.
The first question is, how did you deal with them finally?
A lot of energy protection. Okay. Never to harm. I will never ever use my energies to harm the other person first. It's always protecting my
In Sanatana Dharma, it's called kavacham mantras.
kavacham. Yeah. Kavach, suraksha kavach. But if it gets adverse, I don't destroy them. I just put them what we call in an energetic bubble. So first is always protect and never harm. But then I have the power to reduce their power.
Mantras?
No mantras, it's pure visualization. But then a different realm of visualization. Because again, my visualization directly happens from the third eye.
Understood.
So,
But do you lose energy in doing that?
oh yeah. A lot of energy is lost. A lot.
How did they come across you in the first place?
So anything in the angelic realm, anything in the human realm, because they're so tuned into energies, the minute they know that there's a powerful being, light worker, healer, who has the power to do good, they want to use that energy to do bad. So they were not trying to destroy me. No. They were only trying to capture my energies so that they could use it to their advantage.
For their own growth
For
or
their
whatever.
own growth. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think there could be these villainous occultists who use villainous occult to grow in the material plane as well?
Absolutely. But there's always a price to pay. So
This is where the whole deal with the devil.
the deal with the devil and
You want to say it?
Yeah.
The Illuminati.
The Illuminati, absolutely. You're signing a deal that I am willing for you to control me and do as I say in return, fame, money, XYZ. But I'm also willing to lose a part of me. So how in Hindi we say bali, sacrifice. Whenever you do any bali or any sacrifice, you have to give something in return. It could be health. It could be personal relationships. It could be family. It could be anything that's close to you in human. Social life. So you always have to give something and take something. So,
Okay.
and it's an irreversible deal. It cannot be reversed.
Do you ever see a famous person and maybe something from your own psychic abilities tells you that, hey, this is one of those
Oh yeah.
musicians?
Musicians, definitely. Artists, businessmen, politicians, not to forget. So, Yeah, and even normal people that you meet, you come to know.
How does a person without psychic abilities come to know?
I think for normal people, it's always that vibe, that gut.
Something about this
Something
person.
about it's a question mark,
Hmm.
you know. And whenever there's a question mark, it means your gut, your intuition is warning you or giving you the right judgment. But because in our mind, we are so enamored by the societal beliefs that no, but how can you say this about somebody because they're so wealthy, but he's doing so well, or she's doing so well, or she has so many followers, he has so many followers. We'll end up doubting ourselves. And that's why I started my first conversation here was about that self-trust. That is so important in today's day and age. Because energy never lies. And
Do you think it happens more in the Western world?
it also happens in
India?
the India or Eastern world, China. The richest people in the world in terms of collective wealth.
There is some occultist.
Definitely. But I'm not saying that everyone who makes money is in some practice.
There's elements of it.
There's elements of it.
About India?
India, definitely. India, definitely, there's a lot of tantric influence. I will not lie that. There's also a lot of astrological influence, doing part, puja, all of that. But again, Ranveer, no matter what route you take, you have to pay back for your karma. So, I believe that we all have a certain mess we need to clean. You can delay that mess. Now let me enjoy money and fame. I will deal with that mess through a terminal disease later. Or I will deal with that mess through multiple heartbreaks. But you have to deal with it.
These famous people, do their businesses or their art also transmit some of that devilish energy?
Yes. Music. Again, music, like we were discussing, is the fastest form of energy transmuter, changer. It has the power to break through negative frequencies, but it also has the power to create negative energies. Like, I cannot handle techno, hard rock, because at the vibration at what it's recorded, the vibrations of the instruments, you compare the same note someone's playing on the flute versus someone's playing on a metallic guitar, same notes. One will drain you out, one will, energize you. Why? Notes the same. It's the vibrations of the sound, right?
What about films?
Yeah.
Other than horror films? Can non-horror films also contain devilish?
Oh, absolutely. Something to influence the human mind in a negative way, a negative message. I haven't seen any such messages, any such movies of late. I think people have become very self-aware, very conscious. Also, I think with a complete revolution, I think every artist, every movie maker, singer, anyone in the creative industry, they're awakening to a new energy. They're becoming very conscious. In
a positive way.
Yeah, in a positive way.
So you're saying that the Illuminati is losing a little power?
No, Illuminati doesn't need quantity. It doesn't need quantity. It needs quality. And Illuminati will never go for quantity.
It won't want to sign up many people.
No.
Just needs a few change makers.
And with Illuminati, they will never approach you till the time you don't approach them. They will never approach you. So,
what is the Illuminati?
So, Illuminati is basically a cult. It was started in 1974, if I haven't mistaken, and continued in 1985. It was a secret group of businessmen, powerful people. It was like a BNI, networking. You help me, I help you. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. But of extreme powerful people.
The diya is going off. Why is the diya going off?
Should we talk about angels? And should we talk about... Okay, I don't know. You know, right? Illuminati does not like to be spoken about.
The diya's never gone off. What is happening, dude?
I'm sitting here. That is happening.
Didi, aap hi kuch. I don't know. You take over.
You really want me to take over? It won't go off, don't worry.
Yeah, but maybe then let's switch gears. This has never happened in 16, 17 episodes that we've shot here. So I know these podcasts are slightly reality bending. I don't want to mess with this.
It's okay.
Okay? Wherever you're listening to this, we send you positivity. Moving on. There are 5, 6 people in the room who've experienced this together. What's your favorite angel?
I love Michael. I love Archangel Michael.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wait.
On a lighter note.
Yeah.
I want to share one very beautiful experience I had with... Don't give it... You're giving it energy too. With God. I was in a very happy space in my life. And not happiness because of external situations, very connected. And I asked God,
I saw.
why do you love me? I was sitting in my lobby couch, lying down, 7:30, 8th. I was waiting for dinner to get late. I asked God, why do you love me so much? I was feeling very grateful, very blessed. And this is like 13 years ago, this must have happened. And God was like, you are the only one who's asked me that question.
Say the question again.
Why do you love me so much? And his response was, because you're the only one who's asked me that question. And that was deep. That for me was a life-changing. You know what I mean?
Because everyone else, even the spiritualists, want things from God.
Wanting is not bad. But acknowledging what is already there and what has already been given is also something. Everyone wants to be acknowledged.
Have you?
No, go ahead. And the more you acknowledge something, the more it will come to you.
Oh, wow.
That's manifestation.
That's a big spiritual hack.
Yeah.
Acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Wow. Just throwing a question that I'm
Please
seeing.
ask.
Have you interacted with animals?
Oh, yes.
But I'm not talking about dogs and cats. And we'll hear things about dogs and cats. Have you ever tried interacting with wild animals?
I've never really been in that physical environment. Like, I've just gone for a safari once or twice. I'm more of a beach person. But no. I've seen white owls, definitely.
Which means what?
Yeah. So owls are basically your spiritual awakening. Especially white owls are very, very rare. Very rare. But apart from that, no. I've had 2 pet animals whom I've tapped into their energies. But apart from that, no. So.
Would you ever want to interact with a tiger or lion?
I would love to.
I'm convinced after all these episodes that every single species that is spoken about in animal-oriented conversation. So you don't necessarily talk about some small random fish species, but you talk about lions, gorillas, chimpanzees.
Yeah.
There are some higher faculties.
Oh, absolutely. They're all gifted in their own way. They all have certain virtues that we all can learn so much. And that's what we say in our spirit animal.
And you're talking on a metaphysical level as well.
I'm talking about a metaphysical level as well. They're all tuned. In fact, they are more in touch with their spirit because they're living in nature. And they only go through 2-3 emotions, which is, sex, food, thirst, sleep. Safety also, Apart from that, they don't have any other emotion, no greed. Greed is only for the stomach.
Do you think they perceive humans?
Oh, definitely.
They know that we are some weird species.
They can pick up negativity. They can pick up positivity, definitely.
What do you think they think of us?
I don't think they think of us.
It's like, these guys also are there.
Yeah, as long as we are not encroaching their space and harming them. Like I said, They will not attack you till the time you don't harm them or they don't see you as a threat.
Can a human be born as an animal? A wild animal?
Yes, but that's more like a demotion in the spiritual realm.
Curse?
Not a curse, it can be a choice. It can be a choice.
Why would someone choose?
Just to be with family members,
You said it's more of a demotion.
Yeah.
That means a promotion could be that a
Human
tiger
form.
says, I want to be a human.
Yes. So
And-
they say dog is the last life as animal and then comes human.
Oh, wow.
That's why dogs are the closest to to human energies.
Not cats?
Cats are before dogs. So. But
And-
cats are very powerful. Spiritually very powerful.
We'll break down cats and dogs as well.
Yeah.
But what, can a tiger directly incarnate into a human?
No.
It has to go into
It
that
has
cat.
to go through that hierarchy, yeah.
Really?
It's like when you jump from first standard. In first standard, you get 99%. And you go and tell the principal, I've got 99%, put me in 10th standard. He won't do it. You have to study second, third, fourth, fifth, because you'll need all those lessons when you're in 10th. Because you will not be able to resolve the 10th formulas if you don't know plus, minus, multiplication, division.
So perhaps being a dog or a cat is a more complex reality than being a tiger
Oh, definitely.
or a gorilla also?
Definitely. Because for them, then they only need to tap into nature and they need to tap into other animals and their family. With dogs, they have to tap into human emotions.
Now let's talk about cats and dogs.
Yeah.
Wherever you'd like to begin.
So cats are very, very feminine, which we all know, but very intuitive, very powerful spiritually. They have the ability to absorb negativity. So if there's negativity in the room, they will take it upon themselves. They will sense, very, very creative in terms of their energy. So when someone is a creative person, they prefer having cats to dogs. Dogs are very sensitive, emotional. Dogs also absorb emotions. They don't absorb energy. They can sense energy, but they will absorb emotion. So today, if you're sad, they will absorb that sadness and you'll feel light. Okay?
Will they feel sad?
They know how to brush it off. They're alchemists. With cats, you could be happy, sad, you could be the happiest, but if there's a negativity around you, they'll absorb it. So there's a difference between energy and emotion. So again, it's the masculine, feminine. I mean, it could be a dog also. It could be a female dog. It could be a bitch. But that bitch will have a masculine energy.
Understood.
It could be a male cat also, but it will have a very strong feminine energy.
Wow. Okay. People who've had dogs for a long time in their life, I've heard a lot of them say it, and I totally agree with this. I feel like every dog eventually becomes a reflection of its owner.
Absolutely. I so agree. Because they absorb so much, right? They are sponges. So, they absorb a lot. That's why we say, therapy dogs.
Wow.
Why don't we have therapy cats or therapy rabbits? Though they are cuter.
Why do cats choose certain humans and not choose others?
It's all energy bound. It's all energy bound. Also, have you noticed it's more females or women that keep cats than men?
Why?
Because they get attracted to the feminine energy.
The women get attracted to the cat?
The cats get attracted to the feminine energy. So that's why.
This is a cute note to end episode 1 because there's actually a lot of conversations left.
Yeah.
You okay to do another episode?
Absolutely.
Okay. Dr. T, thank you for your
My
debut on
pleasure.
TRS. People have gotten to know you. There's a lot of exciting stuff coming up in the next episode.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. T.
Thank you.
That was the episode for today, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed it, episode 2 is going to release in a month. I intend on shooting a lot more episodes with Dr. Tamanna in the future. Send in your topic recommendations. That's all I'll say. We have found an all-star, ladies and gentlemen. Please go follow her on all her social media accounts And until next time, guys, from Ranveer and the team, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support.